FX Nation, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And in this video guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look and do some quick analysis on the upcoming week of trading. A couple things that I wanted to make sure that we talk about in this video as we go into the winter months. So we're already in November and then obviously December and January. One thing that you have to keep in mind the next couple of months is that any huge move that we get in the market is essentially going to be solely based on news events. News about the vaccine. We saw what kind of response that had last week on Monday on most of the pairs, especially the CHF pairs. You'll have news come out, if there's pulling troops out of Afghanistan, if Trump decides to send out some crazy ass tweet. So anything that the market does is essentially that has any kind of significant moves are literally solely going to be based off of news. All right. So keep that in mind if you're trading November, December of 2020. It's very important to select the trade setups that you trade very carefully and keep in mind as to what's going on around the world, because in these next 2 months it's really going to matter, especially when it comes to the dollar. Some of the stocks that are carrying the vaccines like Moderna and Pfizer and things of that nature, Johnson & Johnson. So a lot of things to keep in mind if you're trading. All right, so let's go ahead and let's break down some charts real quick for this week. I'll give you my thoughts on them, and hopefully you'll learn something new in this particular video. All right, so without further ado, let's get this going, guys. All right, so let's start off with Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, I believe, just to give you some quick analysis of what I'm looking at here on this particular pair. If we just look at the most recent price action, right, we can go ahead and I'll just draw this out here for you. This being one level here, this is another, that's another, and then this would be the high or the peak, the first peak formation, right? So peak 1, 2, and then 3, and then we go up again. So the question becomes, essentially for this upcoming week here, for the rest of this week, what do we look for on Euro Pound? So for right now, I'm looking more towards buy setups on Euro Pound, just because where we are on the cycle itself, or on the levels. If you just count this as 1, and let's just say count all this as 2. For right now, this could change, obviously. It just depends on how it plays out. But I'm really looking towards potentially looking for buys. And so if you now go into, let's say, this week's weekly cycle, right? So we talked about levels here. Let's talk about weekly cycles from a standpoint of we just started the week. So you can see if we go down to the 15-minute chart, we did nothing Sunday, Monday, but pretty much go straight sideways. Tuesday, which was yesterday or tonight, we actually went down in one direction. Okay, now this could essentially lead us into having potentially a market maker cycle this week where we could possibly get a reversal or a midweek reversal, either today or Thursday or tomorrow. So that's one thing that I'll be looking for, is to find a setup or a pattern that could help me identify that midweek reversal. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm looking for it. If it does happen, great. I can take the trade. If it doesn't happen, great. It doesn't matter. I won't take a trade. So that's what I'm looking for on Euro Pound, is you had a full day of drop on Tuesday. So ideally, in a market maker cycle for the weekly cycle, you'd basically want to get a reversal either Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll be looking to see how this Asian range pans out and see if we get any kind of a setup, any kind of a buy setup, with a pattern being a type 1, 2, or 3 pattern to help us basically make this into a market maker cycle for the week. If it doesn't do that, and let's just say it continues to drop, then essentially you're in a trending cycle for the week, and it wants, basically, we want to get more people to sell, and once it gets back down to this area here, you can look for more buys. Okay, so that's my 2 cents right now on euro pound so far. Let's take a look at euro USD. So euro USD here is kind of in a very particular situation, because I had counted this right here, this area, as a peak formation high, and so I was looking for sells to take place. However, you can see what happened here. We went down and then we came back up again. So a couple of different scenarios that I see for euro USD is that essentially we could get a situation where price comes all the way, or has come all the way back up to this area here of structure, and you can see if you go back, it's the same area of structure all through here as well. So this is a good area where price seems to get stuck at, as you can see. So if that's the case, okay, if that's the case, you'd expect to get some sells out of this and basically create a big M like this, right? So that could happen. If that does not happen, then essentially the only other thing that I see it happening, or that I see happening, is basically this area here becomes a reset and the market continues to trend in that direction. Okay? So one of two things: either this high here holds and this becomes the second leg of a huge M. Okay? Either that happens, or this right here becomes a reset and the trend continues to go higher. So one of those two things is what I see happening, because we only got, if I'm calling this as peak, we only got one level here, and then we got another one right below it, obviously. And then price shot up. So we were expecting, let's say one more level down to basically be around here. We didn't get that. It shot right back up, right? So if you just do some, let's say a quick, if you do a quick retrace, like a Fib retracement, right, from top to bottom, you could see that we've reached that 78.61 area as well. So a lot of things, point to this continuing to be basically a big M. And like I said, I let price action tell me whether it is or whether it's not. Okay, so this is either a reset that's happening, or it's going to be an unconfirmed reset where it just taps the high here and then drops back down again and creates a big, a very big M. Okay, as far as weekly cycles go, if we take a look, we basically had 2 days of rise. So we could be in a situation where, like I said, if this is a big M that's being created here on this, we could see, let's say, maybe price doing this and then dropping. It could do something like that. It really just depends. But that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm really more leaning towards sells right now because of the way that this is. But if there's any doubt that this breaks this structure here and goes past this the psychological number of 19,000, then this is a reset and this is going to go higher. Okay, and so you start thinking, okay, well, how much higher essentially could it go? Well, if we go up to the higher time frame, like a 4-hour time frame, you could see that it could go as high as 19,200 250, another, quarter point, psychological number, whatever you want to call it. You can see these highs from here, here, and all throughout here have been touched before. Okay. But you can see on the bigger time frame, all this is done so far is just accumulated this entire area here. That's all it's done on a bigger time frame. It's just accumulated the entire time. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for on Euro USD. Now this would also make sense if you look at pound USD. I mean, it pretty much looks very identical to Euro USD. So I really would expect, something similar to happen. If it happens on Euro USD, for it to happen also on pound USD, because it's basically going to be driven by the dollar, not the pound or the euro. Okay. So same thing. I saw a peak here. We only got 1-2 levels in, and then it started to reverse. But you notice it did not take out the high here. It didn't take out this high. So same thing, we could see a really big M form here if that high is not taken. So keep an eye out on the on the 33,000 number on pound USD, another psychological number again, for it to be taken out. If that number is taken out, then this becomes a reset. And then, of course, they're going to go higher. How higher do they go? Well, you can see here, once they get past this 33, there's pretty much open space to go all the way up. There's open space to go all the way up to 135,000. Pretty close to that. Call it 134,750. Okay? But it can go potentially that high. You see that there's nothing here to stop it once they get past that 133. So gold right now is basically stuck in a range. It was stuck in a range of 1890 to 1850, and then you can see the last week or so we had gotten some spikes above it. Price closed above it a little bit. On gold right now, you can see it's just straight moving sideways. The bigger picture on gold, guys, it just really depends on where it decides to break with this. So if it breaks above this 1900, obviously you can see where it's going to go back up to. If it breaks below 1850, you have a long way down, like a really long way down to at least the 800 EMA here, which is basically about 1746. And obviously it's not going to happen all in one day. This could take weeks to do. But those are the two major areas of support and resistance that are holding gold right now, is 1850 and the 1890, 1900 area. You can see the EMAs here pushing price down, and you can see the EMAs coming together essentially here. So just know, you can see that also on the TDI, everything's starting to squeeze together. So the only good thing that's going to come out of this, there is going to be a big breakout that happens out of here. So just be aware of what's happening on gold here. All right. So Euro NZD, on Euro NZD, I counted this down here as a peak formation low, and then of course it was rising here. This would have been like, let's say level 1 here. And this would have been level 2 at the time of last week. Now, because we have more data to come in, I personally think that this entire block here is going to end up being level 1 here. This entire block. Okay. So I'm more leaning towards buys on Euro NZD. We've had a huge downtrend, you could see, for several weeks. And the EMAs are just way too spread out right now. So this needs to come back. You can also see a little bit of maybe a head and shoulders here. Pattern is forming, so that's another thing as well to look at. But on Euro NZD, I'm definitely more biased towards looking for buy setups on this. As far as like a weekly cycle goes, I think this is going to be a trending cycle, because we just had a false move Sunday, Monday, a reversal on Tuesday that went up the entire day. And then so now I'll be very interested to see if we get any kind of setups to buy. So maybe even some setups, so let's say to bounce off the 50 here, maybe as type 2s or something like that, or type 3s during the London session. But I would definitely be seeing Euro NZD doing a trending cycle this week. So you had the false move here, and then trending cycle the rest of the week. So obviously only time will tell, but that's what I'm looking for. Now, just because I'm looking for it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine also. I just won't take a trade on it. But if I get a setup that I like on this particular trade, I'll take it, because I'm looking, I have a bias for buys right now. So we didn't go, obviously, 3 levels up. And also this ADR right here is 157. And if we count it from the very bottom to the top here, we only went about 2 times its own ADR. So we won about 3. So we want one more level up higher, at least. So that's why I'm more of a buyer than a seller on this. Okay. Only time will tell, obviously. So we'll just have to see and wait if we get any kind of a setup here on Euro NZD. All right, guys, this is just a quick analysis of some of the pairs that I was looking at. Hopefully you found some value in this. Let me know in the comments if you like this type of content so I can produce more of it. And guys, have a safe week. Have a good trading week. And thank you so much.